I don't know if any
For
of that.
God's
I
sakes,
just hit the go
multiple.
live, so I don't know if any of that will get picked up.
Let's see.
But
Sorry, I'm casually looking at apparently the Red Dead Redemption comparison. People
is that?
who
I sorry, I've been so distracted. I
oh,
don't.
that came out randomly this today. That's like something in the middle of the
Is it
morning.
cloud digital only? What is it?
No, it's digital first and then physical in October, I believe. But it's digital in August 17th.
But people have already got footage, or just off the trailer.
Game Explain had footage and they compared it. I
I
can
mean, it's
share
an
the video.
Xbox 360
Three,
game. I mean, we know it's.
yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's just kind of random because I'm like, when the
What is this? Podcast
what
video audio. It popped up like.
what happened?
It popped up a separate window instead of a share.
Okay,
Probably get. Oh, I better mute this. Oh, it looks. The quality's
no.
trash because I'm watching it through your stream. Here, let me
Oh,
just play it direct
you gonna play directly? Okay, cool. I'll let you play it
from
right now.
me so that it's not streaming to
It
me and
doesn't.
then
It,
out.
it. I don't know. Certain shots, I almost argue look better on the 360.
I have no doubt. That's the system it was made for. Very CPU heavy. Or that system was very CPU focused. Switch is not. So,
Yeah, let's see.
I mean, it should be sharper, you would think, on Switch. So the lighting looks more natural on the 360 version.
Yeah, it does.
Like
I
that
think certain
shot.
scenes look cleaner, but I almost think that's a detriment because it makes certain scenes look uglier.
It's not much. I mean, that's the thing people don't. I, if
But
this.
this is a weird port because it's not just Switch, it's Switch and PlayStation 4, and that's
Oh,
it. It's not
really?
a rematch. It's not a
Well,
remaster
it was
either.
only on the 360, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
so it's
mean, I'm
literally
not
just.
seeing much difference at all.
I mean, it's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be a remaster. It's not
But it
supposed to be a
should be
remake.
sharp. I mean, why is it not going back further?
I'd be curious what the PS4
The
version looks
PS4
like.
version is going to look, I would assume, way better than the 360 version. This looks
Yeah.
like a straight port. Like, they didn't even up-res it from basically.
No.
This is my first reaction. I haven't seen any of this. That looks different. Lighting looks different. It's hard to say in
Yeah.
screenshots. Some of it might look better in motion.
It was just I think people were just like, why? Like it comes out of nowhere, I think, today. It was just like, oh, by the way, here's Red Dead Redemption 1
It's just one of
online.
those things, man. The Switch is it's just a landing ground for 7th and 8th gen ports. Whether they come
Yeah, it is.
super late, whether they're collections or individual games, it's so successful. It's just like, well, we got to put our game out. Yeah, I think the 360 version looked better at the house there.
That's what I'm saying. There are certain shots where I think the 360 looks better just off of the lighting itself. I think that's what I mentioned in my
I would
stream
hope
last
it.
week.
I mean, it is cleaner, I guess, a little bit sharper, but you would think a more significant difference.
That's a mix because sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
For old games, it reveals a lot of the shit that doesn't really look good, but was hidden by like bloom and blur and all this other shit. I feel like Red Dead Redemption is gonna be one of those games that falls in that same like line of problem.
And
But
it's
like,
this is the perfect situation of doesn't add to me, it doesn't add anything substantial to the library of the Switch. Getting this game this late that is just looks very much like a straight port of the 360. I don't feel like it adds anything to the Switch's library. I mean, you could say objectively and looking at numbers it adds a game, but at the same time it's like what value is it in this game?
I mean, so part of the reason why I don't mind this, and this kind of leads into the whole Switch 2 rumors, or just the conversation about a Switch 2 in general, is that because all these ports and stuff are coming on a Nintendo console, the Switch has become the landing ground for a bunch of console games they never got for the last, like, I want to say 2 or 3 gens. Which, fine. Okay, cool. You know, we never got Borderlands. We didn't get Bioshock. We didn't get fucking Dark Souls, right? Fine. But that also means that going into the next console, you can't do this shit anymore because you no longer have all those games to lean back on. So a lot of those developers are either going to port their PS4, Xbox One games, which some of them don't have a lot to port, or B, we're gonna start getting proper games
Well, somebody
because you.
at Sandstorm was talking about this. I don't know if it was a rumor. He had a. I wish he was here. I don't know if he's going to join or not.
Whatever.
He was doing a live stream and he was talking about GTA 5 and how there's no excuse for it not to be on Switch. And then he
I
mentioned
mean, I would agree.
he mentioned Red Dead Redemption as well. And I'm like, why are we begging for Red Dead and GTA 5? That's a 2013 and a 2010 or whatever game, 2009 whenever. Like why we even care? Why are we mad at Rockstar for not bringing these old ass games? Like I just don't understand that. Like be more upset, like be asking for Red Dead 2 maybe, or hopefully the next Switch gets GTA 6 or something. But I just don't understand the being quote unquote mad over not getting these
I
old ass
think
games.
the way I always looked at it was like this: the argument that most that some of the dumb arguments out here about like why Nintendo consoles don't get certain games, obviously minus the power and stuff, would be like, well, you guys never got the first game, so why would you get the newest game? And so the first thing I'm like, okay, bet, then just port the first game. And most of the companies now have ported their first games. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the most left field ports I've seen in a while, only because it's okay. Red Dead
And
Redemption,
like
cool.
Stealth Drop too. Not
It's
even
also weird because it's Rocksteady, and it also makes sense because now
Rockstar.
I
You
think
mean?
about, huh?
You mean Rockstar?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I was also gonna. I was bleeding into
Does that
Rocksteady too.
Batman trilogy ever come out on Switch?
That comes out in October, I
Okay.
believe.
I still
That
gotta see Arkham Knight
Arkham Knight
actually
is gonna be the
running.
most.
I
Yeah,
want to see
Arkham Knight
that.
is gonna be the most interesting of the three. The other two, I'm not surprised because both came out on the PS3 and
Yeah.
360. Those are fine. Arkham Knight was a PS4 game, so either it's gonna look like ass or they're gonna have to do some trickery on that. I guess I was never really. I think it only annoyed me for titles I thought made way more sense on Nintendo consoles. Like Red Dead Redemption doesn't do anything for me personally because I never. It wasn't a game I thought would fit Nintendo systems, and it's not a game I needed on Nintendo systems. But
Honestly, I've watched so little footage of that game. I can't even have like an opinion. And what's up, Jay? What's up, Lenny? What's up, Ayers? I've seen little snippets here and there. I've probably seen more footage of Red Dead Redemption 2 and just how lame the shooting mechanics are and the boring nature of like skinning a deer and throwing it in the back of the horse, and it's like I like exploring and stuff, but don't make me feel like I'm doing work. What's up, Levon Kason? Been a while since you've been on. Been
well,
here.
do you mind doing work if it's for the sake of
I
immersion,
don't
or do you
mind
think?
it if it's like I don't know, maybe Tears of the Kingdom. There's a lot of some. I've heard people say there's a lot of busy work, side quests, but I didn't feel like that. Like because I didn't. I just went to a town and then I did the quest, and I kind of felt like they all kind of worked together or kind of made sense. I could see just jumping around and saying, "Oh, I got to finish these quests now. I'm gonna go finish these quests." It might feel a little like, "Oh, I'm fast traveling here, doing this stupid thing for a little reward. Then I'm fast traveling here." I like to just move my way through an area, spend a bunch of time in Kakariko Village and do the quests I can do. And then Hitano Village, I spent like 3 days. That's back when I was playing, 4 to 6 hour sessions. I
Right.
just did everything in Hitano that I could, and then I moved on. Then I moved north. I went to the Akla region. Then I went
Is
to
that because the is that because
Terrytown.
the is that because the world is more engaging?
I just felt like, for me personally, I felt like I didn't want to move on because there was stuff to do. And whether that was all exciting stuff depends on the person. Not everything was amazing, but there was some really cool. So for Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm not sure what exactly how the quest system works, but and then Red Dead 1, I'm even less sure. So I don't. Is it
The
typical
best.
Rockstar stuff? You go to the icon and it
So
triggers a mission.
that was I was gonna say. I think people like. It's kind of like why people say they like old GTA before they like new GTA. It's the same thing with Red Dead. Red Dead Redemption 2 does a weird. It kind of plays around with both. It has some missions where it's free form and you can kind of do whatever you want, and then it has other missions. A lot of the story missions are like go to the marker, then you got to go here, and then you got to trigger this cutscene, and then something goes wrong, and now you got to trigger a cutscene. Like, and some people don't like the fact that Rockstar won't make a decision. They keep jumping between like the marker checkpoint nonsense and then having some open world moments. But the problem is that realistically, if you're in the same area, you'll have the same moment every time. The thing about I think one of the appeal of Zelda was the fact that some shit that happens to you in Zelda is just at random. Like it might be like, oh, you might see the dragon, but like you're not gonna be looking for the dragon. Like it's not gonna be one of those. And you can sometimes find dragons in different spaces. Like it's there's a level of like wandering into some shit,
Yeah, and I
or even
think
having interesting enemy encounters.
I just seen somebody. It was Switch Up talking about the Witcher 3 got the next gen update, but all it was is the costumes. Obviously, they couldn't add any visual stuff. Actually, it seemed like it made the performance worse. I don't know if they tried to make it look a little better. I mean, it was like 20 or and slightly below in large sections of major cities. But he did say went back to do that update, check it out, and he encountered like a goblin or a troll or something he'd never encountered in his hundreds of hours, and thought that was cool. And I kind of get that feeling with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So I don't know if Red Dead, I know a lot of people loved it back in the day. Is it one of those games that just hit right? It was a perfect storm at the right time, because I feel like everybody who played it just raved about it, but it might be at this point it might be so inferior to like a more modern or a more evolved type of open world game that maybe it doesn't feel as good if you go back and play it now, or maybe it does. Maybe it did age well.
Well, I always looked at it as like playing modern because I didn't play Grand Theft Auto 4. I mean 5, but I did play Grand Theft Auto 4 a little bit. And then I'm comparing it to like my experience in like San Andreas or whatever. There are just certain things you can't do in 4 that you could do in San Andreas. And part of that was because, to be fair, Grand Theft Auto had like that appeal of being able to do ridiculous shit, but they never intended for you to be able to do it. The game just wasn't as hard coded to stop you from doing it. But it led to like cool moments that you could do, like there would be a mission of that you had to blow that you would have to kill a guy, right? But like in the old games,
to do a straight port for especially like the PS4 version, to not just do it in the Red Dead Redemption 2 engine and actually work on it, that just speaks to Take-Two and Rockstar's greediness, man. Like, I guess this is better than nothing, but you have Red Dead Redemption 2's engine works on PS4. It was one of the best looking, just technically speaking. And you can't even get put any effort to get it like in running in the new engine and be like and have it look more like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, to me that would be what you do if you have all that kind of money.
It's just to me it was a weird choice. Like why now and why all of a sudden? It's not like Red Dead Redemption 2 has been out long enough to do some like crazy update or something. Like, I don't understand. I think this is one of the first time we've just seen a straight port of just being like, hey, we're gonna take this game from like a decade ago and move it to a different and just give it to other consoles, and we're like, cool. But
well, they technically remastered the GTA first 3 games, but it was done so poorly again. Why is this company that makes billions, one of the biggest games of all time, GTA 5,
and they're still making money off of GTA Online?
Yeah, they're making money hand over fist, and they just put out these lazy efforts. I don't know if they're lazy, just quick cash grab efforts.
I would call it lazy.
Maybe it took a year to get the Switch version run. I don't know, but they definitely could have done more for the PS4. That's for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't. It just feels lazy overall because you're like you're not even trying on the console that's easier, quote unquote, easier to develop for. So I'm like,
anyway,
is this literally just for the sake of the money? Because like, what the? I don't know. Just weird. It was a weird thing.
Everywhere in Tears of the Kingdom. I did that in the underground once I figured out the whatever people were calling it, the Batcopter or Bat. It was like the Batmobile cycle version, but in the air. It made it a lot easier, and I'm glad I didn't do that in the Hyrule itself because then I would have missed a lot. So let's talk about tiers because you beat the first boss last I heard. I don't know if you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which one did you do?
The Rito village.
So the everybody does the Wind Temple first.
Well, to be fair, the game directs you in that direction. Like it's like, hey, you should probably go over there and
Once you
check
go
it
in
out.
that
Like,
area, it's hard to stop. You know, it's hard not to go.
yeah, I'm like, I will say I like the trek up to the area, but more than I like the boss itself.
I thought the boss was fine, but
It's fine. I don't think it's bad, but like I like the whole like you had to do essentially a platforming challenge to get all the way up there
yeah,
into like the eye of.
the journey was great.
Absolutely,
Especially
I
as your
was.
first thing because you get used to that later on, but to be your first impression of getting that high up in the
It was
air and
it was just cool. There was no like. I know that there was no loading screens, but my brain still sometimes has those moments where I'm like, I feel like I should be triggering like a cutscene that leads me into a loading screen or something, and it doesn't happen. And it's like even with like the rune abilities where you can use ascend and go through walls, you still gotta like position yourself in a way to get where you want to go. And it felt like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I'm about around the same level as the wind, but I'm not horizontally close enough to do what I want to do. I actually think the good news is that I didn't do it. Well, I won't say that. I won't say that until I do the other dungeons. I don't want to. I don't want to compare it
Lenny
to what
brought
I
up the
don't
water
know.
temple. To me, the water temple itself felt more like the climb to the wind temple. Like there
Really?
was there's no, oh, you gotta unlock four or five locks or whatever type mechanism. I mean, it kind of was, but it was done in more like just getting up to the wind temple is. It's kind of more open. And so just straight up, what did you think of the actual wind temple? What you doing to get to the boss fight, and then especially compared to like the divine beast?
So, ooh, if I want to compare, I'll do the comparison to like the Divine Beast, like the temple itself. I find this more fun because it wasn't about like I pretty much had access to the whole area, but it was more of like I could get to where I needed to be. I had to figure out how to get there. I think it took me, I want to say a good 30 minutes before I realized, oh, I could just drop down a little to get under that like under cove area to go through like the little
Mm-hmm.
entrance it gives you because you have to do that to get to a couple of them. And I'm like, oh, this is what we have to do. I even like that Teba's like son is with you the whole time. I very much like that. I very much appreciated
And
that.
his,
The
yeah,
only thing
he's
I
the least annoying, I think, of the companions.
wait, really?
Well, couple, three of them. The other three, you have to go up to trigger their special attack. So you have to constantly chase them down.
Oh, okay, gotcha, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
two, and you just got to be in the air basically with him. And
Also appreciated him because he actually is pretty enjoyable in like fights, like even just like
he gets those
the con.
headshots.
Yeah, I'm like, man, like, bro, I don't know why your dad don't trust you because this man's out here killing it. This is ridiculous. But I like the traversal a lot that you had to kind of get creative and use your abilities in the right ways to kind of get through. Because like there are parts of it where it's like, okay, here's the shining light to show you where the general area the fan is at that you have to cut on to start the gear to turn it. I'm like, cool. And then I'm like, well, how the hell do I get over there? Because I'm not decked out in my abilities like I was in the first game yet. And I'm like, okay, so maybe if I drop down here, ascend to here, and then use I think I'm trying to remember which I'm trying to remember. I don't think you use all your runes, but I think the one I used the most was ascend. I tried to get creative with ascend to see how I could cheat certain areas, but
What did you
it's it,
use to spin that gear to open that one door where you had to connect two gears together?
oh, I know what you're talking about.
I was stuck there for.
The
That's
icicle.
what I used. Robert said he put a couple weapons together or something, and
You could do that too, but you use the icicle and then attach it, and then you just.
that was one of those. Are you freaking kidding me? When I finally realized what to do, I was like, "Why didn't
It
I
took.
try this 20 minutes ago?"
I think when I first started the temple, I got stuck because there's that one where it's on the other side of like this wall, and I was like, how the fuck do I get over there? And I'm looking at the map, I'm like, where do I go? And then it hit me to be like, oh wait a minute, there's platforms under
Mm-hmm.
like around the bottom half of the temple. Oh, I had to drop down, and I didn't realize that initially. Or the fact that you had to break open a wall. Although I will say, if you don't have arrows, you were kind of screwed in that temple. I felt like if you didn't have arrows, that whole
Yeah, I
temple's.
had a lot of arrows early on. I was running out of bows at like I only had a couple, and I
Yeah,
think I
because I
used
think you can only. I think starting out you can only hold like what, four
by the end of that
bows.
boss fight. I think I didn't have any.
Yeah, I didn't either. The boss fight itself,
Well, you can dive through them too. Robert told me that you can break
you
through.
can
You don't have to hit him
really,
with the arrow. You can just wait till he's above
really.
and shoots his things, and you dive.
Damn
Have
it!
this
I
guy.
wish I knew that. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you crash through it in one hit.
I just kept using the I forget what they call it. I think it's the keys eyes that you
Mm.
attach to your bow, so it just does auto lock in. The biggest thing is when he starts shooting the tornadoes, and I'm like, fuck, these things are not. I was bobbing and weaving like a mad person.
It looks really epic, you know, and
Oh,
I
absolutely.
fought that two or three other times in the depths. You can fight. There's all the bosses are down there to fight again for
Really?
gear. I think it's gear. Um, and I mean, I didn't hate it, but by the end, I was just like, yeah, it's pretty routine. Like, cause you know I know what to do.
Yeah, because now it's not epic anymore. Now it's like, oh, now I gotta kill him the same way again. Well, that's good to know. I'm gonna try that in the depths. When I find him again in the depths, I'll try doing diving.
Yeah, I was using my
I thought that would
bombs.
hurt you. I thought that would hurt
You
you.
would
That's
think.
why I didn't think.
I was using
You
like
said you,
bomb arrows and shit.
it almost makes me want to experiment on what you could and couldn't use. Like, could I have just slashed through it?
And
In
regular
theory,
arrows work. You don't need any kind of attachment. If you just hit it, it'll break.
really?
And bomb arrows only count as one regular arrow, so I was wasting. Um,
Oh, that's trash.
Jay's
I mean,
only
but
one temple at 190 hours. Jesus, dude. There's so much shit that you could need the other sages' abilities for that. I don't know. Everybody's just on their own stuff, on their own way of playing. I like to not try to waste too much time. I learned from Horizon. Don't waste too much time. Get to the end. Get this new ability that makes everything else you did would have made it more enjoyable, less frustrating, less tedious.
I try to do a good mix of it. I'll BS around a little bit because I want to. Obviously, you're getting a certain experience with the game before you get certain abilities. So I'm like, let me see what it's like before and then after, and it's kind of like a mental comparison in my mind, like because I think that happens a lot with games where people jump to the next level and get their abilities so quickly. You forget like how much of a struggle base level shit. Actually, I hate to bring it up, but Xenoblade 2 is a good example of that. When I play like my finished game of Xenoblade 2, I'm like, oh, this shit's great. I'm enjoying combos and shit. And then you go back and do a new game, you're like, fuck, I forgot how annoying this is early on when you don't got
Mm-hmm.
anything. That's so I try to. I've learned actually that game is what taught me. Let me experience a little bit of the beginning the way they want you to. Like I didn't expect myself in the kicker is I went like the Robert method, getting up the snowy mountain where I didn't actually like plan it out. I kind of got over there and went, fuck, I did not bring any meals that like increased my shit. I literally roughed it through the majority of that trek,
Oh yeah.
and it was hard. I shouldn't have done it.
Where
I
have
should have
you
thought it out.
explored in Tears of the Kingdom?
I think I've done the winter area. I've done a portion of the depths. I haven't done too much of the depths. The only thing I went back to the depths to do is to get bombs. Because I think, do bombs grow outside of the depths? Because I've only seen them in the depths.
Um,
The
yeah,
bomb
in the
thing.
caves.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take
Because
my headset off because it's all twisted up. So give me a second. You can talk to the audience. So.
oh, but yeah, like my biggest thing was trying to figure out because the first two towers, no, there's four towers they want you to activate early on, and two of them are fine, but the other two you have to use like bomb arrows to get through those caves and whatnot. And I was like, where the hell do I find the bombs
Well,
at?
I I learned that's one of those things. You can save yourself a lot of annoying fusing rusty claymores to rocks and using bomb arrows if you just get um, Yunobo and his ability. So that's one of those things like he's useful for one thing, breaking freaking walls down, you know. And it's like like Jay, I don't know. I'm guessing you don't have them because you didn't do the any other temples, but it's just tedious bullshit breaking all these. There's caves where it's just multiple layers of rocks, and yeah, it gives you a bunch of. It get you'll have a claymore or something or a rusty sword fall out of the rubble in one rock, but there's so much like backtracking and wasting weapons, and it's like, yeah, let's just use our sage and get through this way easier, way quicker. Not I don't know about easier, but less using weapons, less having to fuse shit and going back. Oh damn, I can't find a rock now. Now I got to go outside, way outside the cave, find a freaking boulder, so I can go back and break this wall. That's one of those things where I think that is probably the only other sage that you need like to actually accomplish some stuff. Um, the other ones are more just attacks. They help you with attacks.
I mean, that's
But it's
that's
crazy
good to
because
know.
I turned my Switch on. I was gonna play Tears of the Kingdom, but I finished the Pikmin 4 demo, and
Hmm.
it's long. Like it, it's I don't know, a couple hours I feel like I had into it, and it's a solid game. I really enjoyed that demo. Like I was thinking about buying the game now. um,
What do
it's
you think of it graphically? Because I saw Digital Foundry posted
I
like
didn't
a
watch their video, and I only played it on in handheld mode. I thought it
oh,
looked
okay.
fine. I wasn't like I was there in the demo. There was nothing that blew me away. Like, oh my god, how is this running on Switch? So in the OLED,
The reason why
I think everything looks good that I've seen. So I was thinking, yeah, it looks
Digital
nice, but
Foundry was talking about like how much of a pretty it was a pretty significant boost compared to like the other Pikmin games. That's the way I kept
I'd be
hearing
curious
it.
to watch it because I was so like just sucked into like getting the missions accomplished and finding everything that I really wasn't looking at the visuals. And but I can tell you right now, I wasn't like taking screenshots and recording videos. I didn't do any of that. I wasn't like it wasn't on the forefront of my mind. And I'm usually one that stuff usually jumps out at. So and I didn't see it on the TV, so maybe it's a docked mode game more than a handheld game. But um, I thought it looked great, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've seen on Switch or anything. So I'd be curious to watch Digital Foundry's video or what other maybe the final game has more to it. But I do like that if I buy the game, I don't have to redo that beginning. So it starts
Yeah,
you.
you're essentially just your save carries over.
And it just
Um,
works so well having it be over the shoulder instead of top down. It's just such a natural thing to me. It just felt right.
well,
Like I didn't think about it for a second.
a lot of people were saying apparently Pikmin 4 takes more back from like Pikmin 2, and people really enjoy that. Apparently Pikmin 2 is considered the
I never
underrated
played
one.
it.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but I've seen footage of it, especially with all that Pikmin 1+2 footage that was coming out when it got released, and I was like, huh. My problem right now is I'm just busy with other games. I can't like Zelda to me is priority until at least for a while. There's nothing coming out that's gonna rip me from Zelda.
You were playing DMC.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I think people gave that game too much hate. It's actually pretty fun. I understand why it gets the hate it gets, and it gets the hate because of when it came out and what it represented. It represented Capcom being like, people think Dante's lame,
I
so we're gonna
mean, I
make this
gotta
new
say,
Dante.
I was listening because I was working on my AV rack, so I couldn't watch. And
Yeah,
wow, that does Pikmin 1 obviously to 4 is a big difference, but I was getting annoyed by his grunts and his battle cry stuff. It was getting very tedious and
yeah.
annoying.
I'll put it this way. I've looked at some of the interviews. The interviews were like, we want to the original, and this is what they use. This is how they describe the original Dante. They said we're tired. It's like we want Dante to be cool. We don't want him to be like this gay cowboy. And I was like, okay, but I'm like, the new one that they created is just as cringe. It's just cringe in a different way. Like he's emo cringe,
Yeah.
which is not it's just actually I would argue it's less appealing. But I will say this: it's the most like understandable and straightforward game that we've had in the whole that I've played so far. Of the 4 games I played, except for 3, I think 3 is still pretty straightforward. But this game has been pretty fun overall. I don't like the fucking hey, an enemy's blue, so you better hit him with a blue weapon.
Oh yeah.
Or in this case, or this enemy is a demon, so you have to hit him with a demon weapon. Like I don't like that. But as far as the levels, like the cool, like you jump through your platforming, but like the level will stretch out because it's fucking with you. It's almost like the whole thing they do is that they have this text that'll appear on the walls and on the floor saying "fuck Dante" or "kill Dante," and then it's almost like the level's actively trying to kill you. I like that. I like that's like a nice. It's like a nice effect for me personally. I like. Also, it just the fact that Dante has
these. To show like late game
yeah, they
footage too, so I'm gonna stop.
But I just like the fact that they fucking they just made platforming fun in DMC, because I'll be real with you, platforming has never been fun in Devil May Cry. It fucking sucks. They do this thing where Dante has this really high vertical jump and this motherfucker moves like 1 inch forward. And I'm like, this is trash. And they gave him like proper abilities. I'm like, this is, you know what? I think because of what it represented, people hate it. But if you go back and play DMC, it's not really a bad game. It's just weak as a DMC game. But as a game in itself, I enjoy it so far.
It didn't look, like I said, it didn't look terrible the little bit I seen of it, and I wasn't sure which one it was actually.
Yeah, it's the reboot, and then I'm gonna get the 5, and then we're gonna have a conversation.
That's a storyline that makes no sense. No.
Yeah,
sense.
I'm very curious to see how this goes, because I know your opinions of 5, so I'm like,
So Jay, I see you saying you knew the Switch was capable of much more than we have been getting. Nothing from Pikmin 4 there.
I wouldn't use Pikmin 4. I think
showed me anything more, like barely more than Breath of the Wild at launch. Like
I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably a better.
That's a good looking game, but
statement to make. If you're gonna make that statement,
I don't think there's some secret sauce. The only secret sauce is letting the clock speeds run at full for loading times to be greatly reduced. That's the only secret sauce they've had, and they actually bumped up the GPU clock speeds in handheld ever since Mortal Kombat 11. They had to bump it up. It was at like low 300, and they had to put it over 400 just because developers were like, hey, you know, we want this game running at 60 or solid frame rate. We need more in handheld. So, and I don't remember. It's been a couple weeks. Did we talk about? I might have brought up the PC games running on Switch thing. Like somebody modded the Switch to run something that could run just any games off Steam. In God of War, it was like between 5 and 30 FPS, but it booted up and it worked.
Oh yeah, you did bring that up. I remember that part.
And so I mean, and that's with it fully overclocked. So,
I mean,
but I'm not like even Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it looks better for sure than Breath of the Wild, but still, I know Retro's gonna want to debate this, but I'm done arguing with it. It's not some noticeable massive change. I mean, it just isn't. There's a lot of little things.
You don't understand. The game is beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
you don't understand.
The clouds look cool, but the actual texture or resolution's a little bit sharper. Shadow details the same. Jaggies are still all over the environment.
Yeah, to me, it looks better, but like in a way that doesn't really mean much for me personally. Like I didn't. Yeah, like I enjoy. Like I still think Breath of the Wild looks good. So for me, I kind of went. I mean, it looks as good as Breath of the Wild. I'm fine with that. Use that video with someone running Steam OS or on Switch or just Linux. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if I would say.
I'm not sure what they were running. I didn't actually see the performance.
I also don't. Jay, I don't know if I would. Odyssey and Luigi's Mansion to me are 2 different kinds of games, and I think Luigi's Mansion looks better mainly because it's more of an enclosed space, whereas Odyssey's a whole goddamn world that has like barely any loading screens in it. The only loading is if you go into like a temple or something, or like some sort of like building. But Mario does a bunch of trickery too. That's why you phase through shit. Not phase through, but like shit will become transparent depending on like the angle of the camera. And people have spazzed that. It's the same. Actually, it has the same hitching issue you'll notice in Zelda. If you go too far too fast, the game hitches. But granted, the only way you're doing that is if you're like glitching out the game, or in Zelda when people do trick shots and they go across the map really quick. If you look at Breath of the Wild, you'll see it hitch sometimes in the middle of those trick shots. It's because the game can't keep up
Mm-hmm.
because Link's going too fast in the world he was never meant to go.
I do feel like Tears of the Kingdom has less slowdown unless you're running around with Ultra Hand on through Kakariko. Like, I feel like it performed better.
Overall,
Well, let's talk tomorrow. There's something. What do you expect in that Pokemon presentation?
oh
This
god!
time of
All
year,
right, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Detective
I don't
Pikachu.
want. I don't. I have no interest in. I have no interest in the Scarlet and Violet DLC as of currently. Detective Pikachu.
They
I
got
didn't
a
even play
massive visual upgrade since the last time we saw. Where
I
people
gotta
thought
hope
it was
it
a
does.
DS game or 3DS game.
I kind of hope it does because it fucking needs it.
It looked
But I also
terrible.
never played the first Detective Pikachu, so I didn't care about that either. And then we got
Some mobile stuff probably.
probably some mobile stuff, and I'm trying to think of the only thing that might come out of this that I'm a little concerned about is the remakes. Usually, the way Pokemon likes to do things is they announce remakes near around a year after their like main
Something
game
for
comes
November.
out.
Isn't there something scheduled or
No, it's just Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu and probably the DLC for Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
That's it. And my concern is that they're going to announce the Unova remakes, which is Pokemon Black and White. Now, listen, I want to put this in context, and people in the chat, y'all should know, I love those games to death. Those are like my favorite Pokemon games. Like, it's either top two or like number one, depending on the mood. I don't want them to remake those games, though, because their remakes as of lately have been bad or just not better than their originals, which to me means it's not worth the effort.
it's pointless?
What I would like them to do is more stuff like Legends, like either different projects that involve Pokemon but aren't inherently just here's the same game that you've been playing. Because like I fuck with Pokemon, but I also have gotten a little burned out with like the subpar remakes, and then fucking Scarlet and Violet to me is just I enjoy Scarlet and Violet, but I definitely don't enjoy it as much as like Sword and Shield. So like I'm kind of burnt out Pokemon wise to a degree. I haven't even been playing Scarlet and Violet that much. So all I really care about for the presents tomorrow, give me more side games. Give me a Legends 2. Give me a Pokken 2. Or just give me some more off the wall side games. Like even if you want to do another Pokemon Snap, that's perfectly fine. I just don't need no mainline shit right now.
Did you play Snap?
No.
Mm.
Oh well, let me say I played the original. I never played
You
the
didn't
new
play
one.
the new one.
That one that doesn't appeal to me. I know a lot of people are talking about Mystery Dungeon. I'm fine with Mystery Dungeon. I'm not gonna play Mystery Dungeon, but I'm fine if they gave us a Mystery Dungeon because at least that's something different. It just gotta look a little bit more visually appealing. Otherwise, we get that port they just can't stand because it don't even look bad. It's just not interesting gameplay to watch like at all.
Which one?
The Mystery Dungeon game. Remember when they ported it?
Yeah, I weren't.
And
I
you were
thought maybe you started talking about something else.
No.
Yeah,
no.
that game
But
to
yeah.
me was like that. I mean, it looked like not a huge upgrade from a Game Boy whatever Advance game or whatever it started.
It
out.
wasn't anything immaculate, but I mean that gameplay wasn't going to change too much.
No.
Also, and Lelouch, you hit it on the head. I'm afraid they're going to fuck up my games if they remake Black and White right now. So I don't want them to do it. Now, if you want to do a side game, a spinoff that involves the Unova region, fine. But do not remake my games because y'all can't be trusted. You fucked up. You fucked up Orosh. You fucked up Diamond and Pearl. Let's Go. I get wasn't really for me. It was for the Pokemon Go crowd. I don't like the game much though. I'm done with that. I don't want to see my. That's like you already. I just. I need a break. I need a break from mainline for a little while. Just
So,
let me enjoy side games.
Pivoting because Nintendo's had a pretty good. Was it the first half or the second quarter? It was like one of the best, if not the best, in Switch's life. Obviously,
Oh, because of the Zelda sales.
Zelda was over what 18 million now.
Yeah, and that was based off of I think the end of. Because Zelda came out what May, right?
Yeah,
I think it was based off of the end of. Was it based off the end of May or June? Hold on.
I didn't see
I'm
it
gonna go.
all. I didn't see
I'm gonna go
this.
grab. I'm gonna go grab the sales while we're talking about this. So there were some other updates for a
But
bunch
you
of other
know, of
games.
course, people wanted to chime in. Oh, I thought the momentum was slow. Cat's trying to bite my fucking
Why? What the fuck?
my earbuds. Yeah. How many more Zeldas is the Tears of the Kingdoms and Animal Crossings does the Switch have? I don't think it has any. Like Wonder could be pretty big. 2D Mario games. New Super Mario Brothers Wii was huge. New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe has done pretty good. I can't remember what it got up to, 10, 11 million.
Yeah.
So Wonder's going to be it's going to sell well, no doubt. I don't think there's going to be another I don't think it's going to do 18 million in like a month and a half or 2 months. I don't
All right,
know.
here we go.
I could be
I
wrong.
found the sellers. I found the updates for the numbers. Yeah, because Zelda's at 18 and a half.
And Mario Kart 8, did they give updates on that?
Yeah, it's 55.46 million. Animal Crossing is at 42.79
Man, I
million.
thought Animal Crossing would pass Mario Kart at some point.
It's I mean it's kind of close. It's not. It's probably the closest of what we got. Smash Brothers Ultimate's at 31.77. Breath of the Wild's at 30.65. Odyssey's at 26.44.
30 million
Pokemon's
Zelda game. That is just unheard of.
we listen. We eating. Motherfucking Nintendo's eating out here, bro. Uh, Pokemon Sword and Shield's at 25. Scarlet and Violet's at 22. Mario Party's at 20, almost 20. It's like 19.39.
So was that the
And then
end of the half year report? September.
yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me make
Yeah.
sure I got the number
I just
specifically.
What's the Switch hardware up to then?
129, I believe. Hold on. It's just oh yeah, 129
So it needs
53.
how many to pass the PS2?
Yeah, this is up until the end of June
Does it need another
This-
25, 26 million?
to beat the PS2.
I think the PS2 is at 154 or something.
Yeah, that's if the problem is that if the rumors are true about we getting a new Switch console or a new Nintendo console in summer of next year, right? I don't know if it's gonna hit another 20 something million between. It's not even it's about a year.
I mean, it could easily do another 10 million this year with Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, and just the momentum that it's got right now. But I mean, that's probably pretty high. I'm not sure. It depends on what they do. PlayStation just did a price drop. PS5 $450 now.
Really?
And, yeah, and they
I
lowered
think
it.
that I think that confirms we're probably gonna get a pro.
They lowered it in
Pro.
Europe too. So
Really?
and I checked Best Buy. If they had it as $50 off, it didn't look like a new MSRP. But yeah, $450 for the digital or the regular PS5 without a game.
I think we're getting that pro next year. Then I'm guessing. For
But if
PS5.
Nintendo if they want to hit that number, I think drop
Oh, and
the
then, you know,
OLED down to 300 and the regular 250 and the light down to 150, you probably gonna hit that number.
Oh yeah, I would agree. Also, I think PS5s are now at 40 million.
Oh yeah, yep, I saw that.
So we're at that position.
That's
Also,
that's
side
a pretty good number in just under 3 years, two and three quarters.
although side note, we did get like some more updated numbers for some of the other games. Apparently, there was like a bunch of titles, even some third-party titles that we didn't know how much it sold on the Switch. Yeah. So apparently, I do find this interesting. So I went and saw Bayonetta. All three Bayonetta games are over 1 million, which I don't know why. I didn't think the Bayonetta 1 and 2 were. Unfortunately, Bayonetta 3 is the lowest selling of the three, but not by like an insane amount. Like Bayonetta 1's at 1.24 million, Bayonetta 2's at 1.23 million, and Bayonetta 3 is at 1.04 million.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Bayonetta's run out of. I don't know if there's going to be a 4, and I don't think if there is, it's going to hit 1 million. Even I was just like, I mean, it was fine. It was a good game, but it wasn't like, oh my God, this is Game of the Year contender. I know it was your Game of the Year, but it just to me it was missing something. I don't know if that IP's got any more juice left in it.
Well, if I look at it, if I compare it to its older brother, which is DMC, those kind of games don't need to come out like all the fucking time. Like realistically, Bayonetta can go probably another 5 years without me seeing a
I think
game,
the
and I probably
problem was they announced it way too early, and then by the time we saw it, it wasn't like, oh my god, that's the sequel we've been waiting for. It was just like, oh, it looks solid, looks decent, you know, like
yeah, it was a solid. That's exactly what it was. A solid game. I'm trying to see what some of the other updated numbers. We got some
Wiser
updated.
said hot take Bayonetta 3 isn't that great. I mean,
That's not really
it's
a hot take. Oh, I think a
it's
lot of
it's a
Bayonetta
fun
fans said
game.
that.
I liked it,
A lot of
but
people say it's the weakest of the three. That's what I've
I
heard
didn't have any
mostly.
inclination to go back and I never even tried it after the patch where they made Viola. I guess
I
they
tried
buffed
it.
her.
So we did get some third party numbers. Some of these you're gonna care about. Some of these you won't. Although I can't tell if these are. I'm assuming these are the numbers for Switch because of how they're based in here. Um, like Persona 5 on Switch. Well, no, that's all platforms. That's not gonna help me. Shin Megami Tensei sold over 1 million, which I'm surprised. 'Cause I'll be real with you. When Shin Megami Tensei 5 came out, it kind of felt like it came out and died.
It did.
So I'm surprised it sold over 1 million, even though I own the game. Dark Souls Remastered sold over 1 million, 1.15 million. Octopath is almost at 2 million. The first one, I mean. These other ones I don't think you'll give a shit about anyway.
They probably didn't update Octopath Traveler 2 then. Because I know
I think it's over 1 million, but the problem is I think they're combining the Switch and remember that thing came out on Switch and PlayStation 4, so it's not just the Switch
I think it had a
sales.
PS5 version too.
Did
A
it?
legit box from PS5, I think so.
I'm fucking surprised to see that game on a disc is like low-key hilarious to me. Hold on, I'm just gonna look real
Maybe
quick
I'm
because
wrong, but I thought I saw it. Definitely seen it for PS4, but I thought it had a
Oh, did
PS5
it?
box.
Oh, let me see. It's on. No, you're right. It's on Switch, PS5, PS4, and Windows. Wait, does it have an Xbox
And
box? I bet it.
apparently Sony blocked it from going to Xbox. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard.
Why the fuck? I think they're getting mad because like Xbox and Xbox has been trying to get more Japanese games. It just seems like a weird block. Although I don't know if you've heard the rumors of people thinking that Square very much wants Sony to buy them.
I haven't heard that.
There's been a lot of conversation about that because they've been giving like PlayStation weird exclusive deals. Like remember, if I remember correctly, isn't Final Fantasy only on PlayStation?
And PC, I think.
But still, well, no, I don't.
I don't know if that's. I don't know.
Hold
If
on,
that's a PC
hold
game
on,
or not. Could
hold
be wrong.
on. Let's see, Final
Like
Fantasy.
I know I'm a Sony pony and all
No,
that.
it's only PS5.
I don't have a problem with companies getting exclusive games, buying exclusive games from a third party. I just never.
No, that
If I
doesn't
had a
bother
problem
me.
with that, I'd have a problem with it since 1985, like or whenever a Nintendo started seeing more competition with this.
No, I don't have a problem with them getting exclusive titles. I think my concern is some of these companies getting quote unquote bought by like one of the three.
Yeah, I'd rather just Sony and them keep a deal with Final Fantasy mainlines moving forward, or make it game by game, and then Nintendo Switch still get Octopath or whatever else Square. I'm trying to blanking on some other Square games that came
Square
out.
usually Nintendo tends to get like the smaller stuff
They had that one that looked
or like
really cool, like a
oh, Triangle Strategy.
no, it was kind of a anime-ish. It had a really cool looking trailer, and then it came out and kind of was a cool art style.
Oh, oh God, I think I know what you're
But
talking
yeah, I
about.
mean, that's what I said about Bethesda or anybody Microsoft bought or wanted to buy is like, well, that's the only way to combat Sony. Well, you buy it, then yeah, maybe at Microsoft will be like, yeah, well, Nintendo will still give you this, or but if
Uh,
Nintendo gets everything Square wants to put on the Switch, and then if Sony wants to fund or publish Final Fantasy 16, let them. As far as I'm concerned, like They're not. It's. I don't think that hurts anything. It's like, oh, they're keeping it off Xbox. When you're the market, well, they're not the market leader right now, but when you've been the market leader, they know the game's gonna sell. I don't know what Xbox's history is with Square Enix games on that platform. To
Not a
know, I'm
lot.
guessing it's pretty terrible. I mean, but I'm just
It
guessing.
wasn't. It wasn't great. I think the biggest first accomplishment was like 13 when 13 came out,
Because if
and that game is trash. So it doesn't.
if
It's not
Microsoft
anything
was
to.
like, "Hey, we're gonna buy Final Fantasy 17. We want that exclusive on Xbox."
Although they did recently get some Final. What
Well, they can
they
do that,
recently.
but the problem is it's not. I mean, now with Game Pass, it changes things. People are at least gonna try it for an hour, like a demo. But back in the day, Tomb Raider, they made the deal for Rise of the Tomb Raider. And guess what? It didn't sell shit, so they fast tracked the PC version out, and it was rushed and buggy, just to try to get some game sales. And then the PS4 came out right after I think Uncharted 4 came out, and that didn't even take off. It just kind of killed the momentum because the Xbox One was a disaster, and making this game, locking the game to that, and the 360, it didn't help anything. I mean, Square got their money, but
You
at the
know,
end of the day, it didn't sell. So
I know why though. Part of the reason, and here's my thing. I don't know about you, but I have a higher expectation for a company they own than a company they just partner with. And I think my issue is that when Xbox bought all these companies, I'm like, well, I'm expecting these games to be a lot better than what we were getting. Whereas, like with a third party deal, although I still expect quality, obviously, I'm not. It's not, to me, it's not in the same tier. And I get that, like it's a cat and mouse game of like, okay, I'm a partner with this company, you partner with this one. Like for example, everyone I think the difference is that like Sony and Nintendo both have their certain partners. You're not surprised to see them partner. For example, when Nintendo would be Sega. Every
mm-hmm.
time you get a Sega Sonic exclusive game or even like the Shin Megami Tenseis and stuff, oh, it's Sega. That makes perfect sense. I'm not surprised by that. Just like now, I think I think they've mainly done I think Sony's mainly done it with like Capcom and uh Square. You know, Capcom kind of flips depending on the IP.
Well,
Like if it's Monster Hunter, they've been on Nintendo a lot
I didn't hear any
in recent
Nintendo
years.
fans mad saying, "Well, when Monster Hunter Rise, before we knew it was like gonna come to the other systems." Oh, it's not fair. Nintendo's keeping Monster Hunter off Xbox. It's just only when Sony does it that it's like, yeah, because that is their bread and butter. That IP and Nintendo systems go hand in hand. They did release it on PS5, Xbox systems, and guess what? I didn't hear anybody talk about it other than I saw a comparison video. That's how I knew.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one's mad at Nintendo for because it makes sense. Like I'm getting back to this. They know the game's gonna sell. They know it's gonna have an audience. If Microsoft bought exclusive rights to Monster Hunter Rise, it's not going to hit its audience. So that would be a situation where people should be mad. Be like, hey, this game's been on Nintendo for decades. Well, that's where its audience is now. You're just buying up the rights for this one game, and it's like, to me, that's where it's not good. Like if it has an established fan base on a system, and then a company swoops in, like Microsoft did with Rise of the Tomb Raider. Sony PlayStation's been associated with Tomb Raider, even though it first came out on Saturn. They've been associated with Tomb Raider and PlayStation gone hand in hand, and then Microsoft's like, well, we're gonna give them a load of money to have this exclusive for a year, and it didn't work because the audience was non Xbox. So it has to make
Yeah.
sense. It has to be
Well, yeah.
the
I
audience
think
and the system and the companies. It all has to line up for me.
yeah, I think every console has its bread and butter genres that most people get by that console for. With Nintendo games, I don't know. So the RPG argument's been weird because people will say it's Sony and then some people say it's Nintendo. I like to say it's a combination of both. Especially in recent years, it's been a combination of both. But like platformers, Nintendo, like third-person adventure games, Sony, and I hate that people are gonna get mad. Shooters, Xbox, like and you gotta. I mean, to me, I think that's why Sunset Overdrive I think was a good game for Xbox, and then they didn't support it. Although we did get something weird. So I don't know if you know, but Evo's currently going on the fighting game tournament that Sony owns now, um, and they announced this 10th anniversary update for Killer Instinct, and I was like, what? Like, why? Like, and that's me being mean a little bit about it, but I'm being dead ass about like, what? Yeah, are you gonna make another Killer Instinct Xbox? Because you could. It's your IP. Nah, we're just gonna update Killer Instinct 10 years later.
I didn't hear about that.
Well, there's been a
Didn't
lot of fighting game news coming out. Like Tekken got new characters revealed. Street Fighter did that stuff. Oh,
speaking
sorry.
of
Go ahead.
Capcom too, didn't is that Prime, that dinosaur game? I thought I saw an update on it. I don't know if it came out or is coming out soon. I saw Digital Foundry, somebody had an update on it about how it's a upgraded version of the RE engine, and I'm like, did that game come out? Because I don't think that game's gonna sell for shit. But that's
That game's coming. Also, side note, apparently Call of Duty's announced their new game for this year, Modern Warfare 3.
Is it?
Sorry. Yeah, it got announced earlier today.
What was
apparently.
the last one? Modern Warfare 2?
I think so. It comes out in November. It comes out. Actually, what was the last one?
That's the
it
latest
says,
I think they've ever announced a Call of Duty in the year. Damn.
and it comes out November 10th. But
on Switch,
people they said no platforms were announced. It was just a teaser for it.
They need to stop. That needs.
But they need to stop. You need to stop.
The people who play Call of Duty, I mean, my brother-in-law, my cousin, my nephew will sit there, and I swear I'm hearing a conversation from 12 years ago. The same shit. Got gold. Got the diamond on this gun. I got shot around the corner. I was going around the corner and I died. And I look at the kill cam. He wasn't even hitting me. Blah blah. Like I shot first, and then he kills me. Like the same complaints. Same bullshit. I'm so sick of it. I've been sick of it for 10 years. But getting back to Sunset Overdrive, now that's a situation where it's a negative that Sony bought Insomniac, even though they had a long-running relationship. Now there wasn't going to be any more Sunset Overdrives for Xbox or something for Nintendo. Not that I care, because I think Insomniac's the most overhyped.
Damn,
studio
I feel like
in the game
industry. I feel like Spider-Man has sold.
It's Ratchet and Clank too. Like that game is so like uninspired gameplay wise, so focused on visuals and cinematics and forcing taking control out of your hands, quick time events. They could keep that. Like Tony didn't need to buy that company, in my opinion. That to me didn't. Yeah, I mean, good for them. That's the only game they got coming out this year is Insomniac, and then they had Ratchet and Clank a couple of years ago, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, that's awesome, or I wasn't mad because it makes sense. Sony and Insomniac been working together for decades. Microsoft,
but you feel bad because, but you feel bad because Microsoft
that didn't sell. So you can't be mad, but at the same time, it would that exists.
I appreciate the effort of trying to do a new IP. And the new IP was actually pretty decent. Like it wasn't amazing, but it was a game
grinding bullshit with Insomniac, from what I could see.
And I was just like, bro, come on. And Microsoft's in the back, like, bro, we can't get shit in this house. Like, cause it felt like the rug was pulled right under them. Because even though they still have the IP, Xbox ain't got. It's weird. I would think they had internal studios that'd be willing to try that shit again. I would think, but
but it's like
they don't. Unfortunately, they don't invest in their IPs, and that kind of pisses me off.
If that game would have sold really well and stuff, who knows what if maybe somebody might say, well, Sony bought them so they couldn't have any more games. Like, well, who cares if they got one game here, one game there exclusive? Because I'm sorry that Xbox isn't a threat when it comes to selling software.
They're not.
That's the reason Game Pass exists. I've been saying this since 2018. Red Knight and myself got in a massive argument over it. This has been in the works. They were going to do that. I said, dude, if they were selling 10, 15, 20 million units per game, Game Pass wouldn't exist, period. Now, I have no evidence. There's no way to prove a hypothetical gut feeling. That was my first instinct. That's still my instinct. I still believe it. if your first party games of Gears 5 and Halo 5 and we're selling 10, 15, 20, 25 million, you wouldn't have Game Pass right now. It just wouldn't exist. If their games could consistently sell, you wouldn't have Game Pass. That's why Nintendo doesn't need Game Pass. I mean, Sony could get there because if you don't, I wonder if you take out the bundles of Horizon and God of War, what those actually sold. Did somebody buy a PS5 Horizon bundle because they were going to buy Horizon anyway, or that's the only PS5 that was available, so they bought it? Like, I'd like to see what actual somebody went out and bought the game because they already had a PS5, not because it was the only PS5 you could buy. Like, now that the systems are readily available and stuff, we'll be getting more. Like, somebody was talking about Spider-Man 2 competing with Mario Wonder. It's not even going to be close sales-wise. Not even close.
God, you savage.
I think if Spider-Man 2 with a 40 million install base, I think you're looking at 5 million tops. Mario Wonder, you're looking between anywhere from 15 million to 40 million.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the console with the bigger install base if we were going to go by base numbers, but you're also talking about...
You got to figure like 10% of the people usually buy a game.
Actually, you know what? How much did Spider-Man PS4 sell? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I don't think they release official numbers.
33.
That probably counts PS3, the remaster, or not PS3, PC. I mean, PC, and that like there was bundles, but at that time, you know, it wasn't the only option. So that would be, I guess I'm surprised that it says it sold 30.
Oh no, they're doing that bullshit where they combined it with Miles Morales' sales. So the way they broke it down was in 2019 when it came out, it sold 13. And then when it came out, apparently it got boosted another 20 million since then.
Since PC, since PS5 version.
Yeah. So I'm going to say it's probably by itself, it's probably sold somewhere between like 15 mil. And it only got boosted because of Miles Morales and obviously new console.
And that's with a huge install base on PS4. So.
Yeah, because 13 mil, I mean, 13 mil is not bad, but it's just kind of...
I cringe when people are already putting Spider-Man 2 as their game of the year. I'm like, I guess.
That seems a little...
I knew Tears of the Kingdom would be my game of the year before I played it, but at the same time, it's like, with Starfield still to come out, with Tears of the Kingdom, with RE4 Remake, I mean, it's going to get nominated more than likely just because of the...
Oh, definitely. It definitely has to. I'm not surprised by that.
Just by numbers, it's just probably going to, unless it's trash. But let's get on to the Switch 2 rumors. I was waiting for T, but I don't know if he's going to be here.
Yeah, because I think he said an hour, didn't he? Or
so 2024, everyone's saying, I kind of thought, so for the Switch Pro, I thought they should have did that like a few years ago in March. But for the Switch 2, I really felt like 2024 was like the sweet spot. Well, 2023 could have been a possibility back a couple years ago. I was thinking... I've been locked into 2024, that's a healthy life. 7 years.
That's about average. That's average.
Well, it's more for Nintendo. That's like 2 years.
It's more for Nintendo, but like I know for Sony and Xbox, that's about average for them.
So what? Jesus Christ, Matt, quit. I'm not gonna accept it. Can I decline it?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Can I decline it?
No, you can't decline it.
I might have to turn off donations.
Why are you mad? You're the only person I know who gets mad because he donated. Is it just because it's him specifically?
Yeah, I mean, dude, buy a plane ticket. Let's come check out my theater room. Let's hang out. Save some money. Do that instead. That's how I feel. But yeah, I mean, I'll probably buy something with it. I'll probably buy.
You got $50, man. You can get Pikmin 3 and just put $10 more with it. I mean, Pikmin 4.
I guess thanks, but I'm gonna turn off the donations.
Dude, you were the weirdest bro about this shit. You'd be like,
turn off the donations. I forgot.
Are you shitting me? You turn off the donations because he donated $50 to you. Oh, come on, Juice.
I did dispense. I bought a $300. I bought a $300 AV rack, and then I threw another $300 in accessories and stuff I needed for
money. It.
I don't need it though.
Then why are you? What do you mean?
I'll buy a movie or something. That's it.
You're the why you
I'll
do
put
this?
it
You the
towards
only.
Dead Reckoning Steelbook.
I want y'all to understand in the chat. This man took this man years before he even cut on like AdSense and
I
all that
know.
other stuff, and then he turns on donations, and then somehow is like, "Bro, I'm cutting it off." I'm like, "What do you mean? You got donated to like a couple times? Yeah,
You know
I'm
what I'm
cutting
gonna do?
off."
I'm gonna spend some. I'm gonna buy you a game. You
No,
don't
you
need a
relax.
game right now, though.
I don't
I
need a
might
game right now.
collected a
Don't.
game.
Oh, look at
I'm
him!
buying collected or somebody a game.
Look at the man! Look at him!
How do I turn this shit off? I gotta go to that web page. I don't even remember where it was enabled.
Yo, that's hilarious. You know what impressed me? Are you literally trying to cut it off? He's trying to
I'll
cut
figure
off
it out. I'll
donation.
figure it out afterwards.
Somebody donate to him quick. For
No,
the
don't do it.
donate to
I'm gonna
him.
give it to the liberals. I'm gonna donate
Oh
to the
my
liberals.
goodness. Oh, oh my chest.
Donate
That's
it
so good.
to cancel culture. Why is the YouTube not receiving enough video information?
I don't know. Your thing glitched out for a second, but you're fine now for me. Oh my chest. That was hilarious. You the only person to be like, bro, don't donate to me, bro.
Hey, I'm
You
not.
have
I
a
don't. I mean, I just figured it'd be cool with
juice,
somebody once in a
juice.
while.
But juice, it's like you got the tip jar out and like, don't do it. It's like, but the tip jar is out. Nah, don't
Are
worry
we
about it. Don't do it.
still poor? Because it's still showing poor for me. We're still choppy.
No, not for me anyway. Hold on, let me double check.
Anyway, we got sidetracked. Switch 2. What's the
Yeah,
basic rumors? What's the basic rumors?
the basic rumor is that they've already sent out dev kits to major third party developers or partners, I guess is where they said it, and that it's scheduled to come out in 2024. That hasn't, and that it's going to use cartridges again. Those are the three
Yeah.
things that have come out, which are all pretty standard. The only thing I'm a little is this the first time we've had a console release in the summer?
I don't believe
If
that
that
part of it.
really,
I think it's gonna be March.
you think? I don't think it's gonna be March because we got like 2 games coming out early next year.
We don't know if
Unless,
they're only coming to Switch.
oh, you think they'll be cross gen?
I think
I mean, it
Princess
could.
Peach could be a PS or Switch 2 game. You
I
know,
mean,
they
it
said
could
Switch.
be. I don't.
It was looking
I
pretty
would just.
clean.
Ooh. I mean, the fact they're using
Oh, now you're breaking up on
cartridges
me.
again. You know what the most exciting thing to me is?
Hmm.
Are you? Am I? You sound clear to me.
You're fine. Your videos. I think it's on my end. I'm not like downloading it. Maybe Windows is updating.
It better not be. That's why T said to get a Mac.
Yeah, it's got one pending, but it's not downloading. So, see, somebody was saying that it's not gonna be an OLED. That's an automatic.
Yeah, a lot
I'm
of
not
people.
buying it at launch.
Yeah, a lot of people said it was going to be OLED. But that's, I mean, obviously,
you gotta have an
we're in
OLED
Louisville.
option at launch. Thanks, Matt. Talk to you later, man. 512 gigabytes of storage. How does that rank? That's pretty high for Nintendo, but
that's high for Nintendo, but it's not. Well, I mean, if it's cartridge based, all right. Here's the question: how much is like on? Is that? Ooh, oh no! If that's pretty good. If that's just off rip, like that's without an SD card, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because Switch games are pretty compressed anyway, so I mean,
I'd like to see less compression moving forward with the audio and stuff. But at the same time, what's the cartridge size is gonna be? Are they gonna have a problem? Is 32 gonna be the norm, or is that gonna still be expensive? Like they need to figure some stuff out.
is
Is
there
it gonna be the same cartridge size, or is it gonna be a different cartridge?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd be curious if it's a different cartridge. Here's my other question: since it's cartridge, is it backwards compatible? Because to me, that's gonna kind of mean a lot for me personally.
It has to be backwards compatible.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if I care about an 8-inch LCD screen after having an OLED. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. That'd be a hard sell for me. And they should at least just have the OLED option. If you want the OLED option, pay $50 more. That's how I'd do it.
How well? Here's the question: what's the price range for you? What would you prefer the price range to be?
Well, because I want it to be a capable system, 400, 450. I don't want no $300. We need to cut down on the performance to have it be under a certain price. I think the Switch OLED proved that people would pay 350 for a nice screen with the same performance. I think they pay 400 for a beefy system.
I think I think 400 is a harder sell, but I think they're probably going to shoot for 350 if I
Just
take a
look at
shot in
what
the
the
dark.
Steam. I mean, the Steam Deck with no storage, the $400 model comes with shit, 64 gigs, um, and you can't have that. Like performance wise, it's fine. It's up there with the others, but to have that little storage and then to put a SSD in, looking at another 100 plus, and you
Right.
could actually mess up if you don't know what if you do something wrong, you can rip the ribbon cables. So it just, I don't know. I think at 400, I think it has to be 400 and have what it needs to have. But at the
I
same time, what is the price of the Switch to manufacture right now? They're still charging 300, no price drop ever. And what does it cost to manufacture the Switch today versus when
I
it
know
came out?
I I know. Ooh, I don't know.
Is it down to
Actually,
like $150 and
hold
they're
on,
they're just making hand over fist, or
hold
has it
on. I can
stayed
look
up?
this up.
Has
Hold
it
on.
stayed high? I don't know.
I'm gonna check right now. Hold on a second.
But I don't know, man. Like to think about what I want, I can't even really come up with like a good idea other than just make it more
It
powerful
was.
of the same
It's
thing.
260.
That's what they're saying. I don't
It's
know.
saying $260 to
That
produce a
seems
unit.
high for the base Switch.
That was what it was for the base Switch.
I know at launch it was around there, but I'm talking now.
Now, ooh,
That's why has it gone down? Because if the make a Switch now is still 260, it can't be much cheaper. I mean, you got to figure how much it'd be to make a Switch 2 more powerful
they
system with
said for
more
the.
storage.
Ooh, hold on, let me see. Let me see. They said they said it was only $10 more to do the OLED. So they're saying it's around what 260 something or 270 to do the OLED, and that was what 2 years old.
Is it? I think this
Yeah,
year it'll
that's
be
what.
two. This November, whenever it came out, before Dread.
Yeah, so it's probably not insanely lower, but the
I,
what people are saying now is like 257.
I just see it be hard to get a Switch 2 out at 300. I just.
I'm thinking, I'm thinking they're gonna go for 350.
And
That
what
would
if
be
it,
that.
like Lenny brought, what if it's, he says they're going to do something different, but what if it just is a lower spec Steam Deck? Like it can't compete with the Steam Deck. Like, not that this, like, I had this discussion with the guy at work. Steam, he's like, there's all these alternatives. You got Steam Decks, you got the Asus. I said, that's not competition. They're going to sell 1 or 2 million units in their life. Like, that's not competition for the Switch. The Switch's competition. The Switch 2's competition is the Switch, is to keep the momentum. Has nothing to do with the Steam Deck, but for like comparison's sake, you can't come out and be less powerful than something that came out a year plus ahead before you. And it shows. Well, it's different. It's AMD versus Nvidia, so we'll see what Nvidia has up their sleeve.
Okay. Well, then here's my question. In terms of the power scaling, right? Would it be Switch, Steam Deck, then PlayStation 4, or do you think like I'm trying to figure out what's the gap between where we're at now with the Switch and it's in the
Well, I think
next
the Steam
what like
Deck's it's PS4 equivalent at whatever 800 720p. Like
right.
it can't actually do PS4 1080p. I don't think for the games that have come out. There's got to be some. You have to run it at like 720 or 540. A little lower resolution in order to get PS4 like performance, PS4 like settings, and on the small screen it looks equivalent to PS4 on a big screen. So I think the Steam Deck's equivalent to the base PS4, but at a lower resolution. Now that it can run Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, it's not like amazing.
But it can run it.
It runs it. The SSD if you have like the SSD model, then you get like 3 4 second pauses in between instead of the instant loading on PS5. But as far as just the regular game, when you're just combat and stuff, it's a close to 30 frames per second experience with lower settings.
So
Um,
would you want it? Would you want the next Switch to be around like base level Steam Deck power wise, or more than that?
I mean, I don't expect it to be any higher, to be honest. I don't know how. I don't see Nintendo going higher than that. So
So if we go by that logic, then and the base level Steam Deck is at what 400 with 64 gigs of memory. I would kind of use that as a baseline. So Nintendo, I think, is going to try to undershoot it. I'm gonna be real with you. If Nintendo does what they did with the Switch, they're going to undershoot it. So my guess is that they're going to aim for like 350, and the console is going to be like 300 to make. Or maybe. Well, you know what? Maybe 320. They want to make some money off of it. Like I know they're not going to sell it
I
at a
mean,
loss. I know that much.
besides the taking advantage of like the fast loading in sections, not every game is trying to do that. So just actually being able to run the game, like, I mean, this is off-screen footage. I'd be curious what it looks like in person. I'm sure this looks really good. I mean, just in the off-screen doesn't look, it's not like, oh my god, that looks as good as the PS5 version, but it looks like what you expect a PS4 version to look like. And as long as they're not trying to push for super fast transitions, like this would be absolutely more than acceptable for the Switch 2. Like this would be like, yes, like we can get ninth gen games. What's that other super demanding game? Reminisce something 2? What's it called?
Revenant
No.
or hold on.
Remnant.
Oh, Remnant.
I didn't actually watch this. Yeah, this doesn't look that good. This looks pretty rough, but it's still borderline playable. So that's PS5, which it's a demanding game. So this one's, but I mean, if it could get pretty decent current gen games, this looks a little choppy, looks a little rough. Wow, Returnal looks bad. Holy shit. But
I mean,
Harry Potter looks pretty bad. But this is Switch level blurriness and stuff, but with modern game, with a more advanced game. So I think best case scenario is equivalent to the Steam Deck. I think that's literally what I consider the best case scenario. I cannot see it being more powerful than the Steam Deck.
No, it probably won't be. If it is, that means they're going. They're going for. I guess the other question is: when they do Switch 2, are we? Is it just more Switch, or are they going to try to do something extra with it? Like Nintendo, as of recently, has tried to do gimmicks with almost every console since
Do you think
the Wii.
if it's just a more powerful Switch with, let's say, improved ergonomics, improved design, like the OLED, improved things, are you happy, excited, or do you think that's going to be boring and
For
not?
me, for me personally, I would be fine. But I also know Nintendo's not the company to be cool with just doing that. That's my thing. It's not like I don't think it would hurt me personally. I mean, by that logic, I should be tired of the PlayStation consoles. And PlayStation, because that's what PlayStation consoles do. They just make the same console again, but better. Um, and the Switch to me is still an appealing like gameplay proposition, but Nintendo does not seem like a company, well, at least they haven't been since the Wii, honestly, to be fine with just doing a better, newer version of the same console. The Wii was different, the Wii U was different, Switch was different. I can't imagine the Switch 2 is going to be like they're going to do something else. The main thing they need to fucking do, and I think we all agree on this, is fix those fucking Joy-Cons. That's like my biggest thing. If you want to keep the Switch the way it is, perfectly cool. But fix those fucking Joy-Cons. Because
I'm
that
getting
was a
more
whole
used to
cycle.
playing because my strategy is to lay down and have a pillow on my chest so the Switch is resting. I'm no longer holding it, and it's pretty comfortable. I can play for a couple hours, no question. but it'd be awesome if I could just be sitting up, holding it up, and play that comfortably.
I just want the hand grips to be something a part of the console, not this flat fucking tablet like that has no grip to it. Like I almost want to take my little grips off just to see how it feels to do this thing flat because it's been so long since I played this thing flat in my hands. Um, they need an improvement. Like they need an improvement. So to me, fine if we're getting another Switch, cool, but fix those fucking Joy Cons.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think my two main things: the analog sticks and the
Yeah,
ergonomics of the
give us
Joy-Con
decent
itself.
analog sticks. Give us uh,
Grips, something I'll grab onto in the
give us
back.
good Bluetooth. Give us good Wi-Fi. I don't want to have to worry about like having shit signal 40 megabytes per second, where the PS4, PS5 get 400. Like don't skimp out on some stuff. Give us, you know, don't have like super slow memory speed, like all stuff that's gonna make it harder for
Modernize it.
developers. That doesn't necessarily make it exciting, but give developers better tools to work with, and then improve the things for the user experience.
Also, fucking carry on. I think they're planning to, but I'm saying it anyway because Nintendo can't be trusted with this shit. Carry on with the Nintendo Online account system so we don't have to start over again on a new
I'd like them to
system.
actually have us have a gamer tag instead of just a random name you can change,
That is
nickname.
true. I agree. The gamer tag thing isn't a huge deal to me. Like if that was the one thing they omitted, whatever. But if I'm asking for stuff, yeah, fucking give us a gamer. It's stupid that Nintendo doesn't have that, and they used to actually with the Wii U. I think the Wii U used to have like a proper name tag, and I think at a certain point in the Wii U's life cycle, you could just search someone by their nickname.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot. So like,
Now you can just like I could type in dad. Still, that's like the Wii U bullshit. You
that
just
still
make a
cracks
me
me
named
up.
dad, and that's your online. Like just have like YouTube just finally allowed me to switch off my old Dreamcube 09 tag. Like it was there was a transition period where I was commenting. I'm like, why does it say Dreamcube? So now I can actually. I don't know if you. I think you still have to do /Dreamcube 09 to go to my channel, but
Yeah.
it actually says like I can actually change my name to Terminator Juice, and
Yeah.
before it used to say Dreamcube 09. So like, just let us have that. Let us have a name that no one else can have. So when you're online, that there's only one, whoever, insane game freak. I don't know why they don't do that. But as far as the hardware, I'm fine with a dock and a handheld system with detachable controllers and a nice screen, and I'm fine with that again. Like, they've never just tried to do like 3DS was the closest thing. Like
Yeah.
dual screens. Well, it had 3D, but it's basically just a DS. Again, and that was successful. It had a bunch of great games. It wasn't, it had a rough start because they didn't really have a good launch for it and stuff, and the lineup was weak. But just give us the Switch too. I don't understand. I mean, it shouldn't be that. I think that would be the risk. Would be trying something instead of trying something new every time. The risk is try to follow it up with the same idea, and just that kind of, for Nintendo, that would almost be, in one way, or in a weird way, you could say that was their gimmick, just doing the same thing again and seeing if it worked again. Because you change it up again, you mix it up too much, you might lose. Like I was telling the guy at work, they cannot get rid of the handheld aspect. Then they're losing, in my opinion, you're losing 50 million user base.
Yeah,
You know,
agreed.
because look at their best selling, other than the Wii, which sold to everybody, and then grandmas and grandpas, they put it in their closet when they're done. Wii Fit came out and they played that. Forget that. That was an anomaly. Look at their what's their best selling home system? The NES was
Yeah.
obviously huge, but that was only what, was that 60 or 80?
Ooh,
The Super Nintendo was
I
around
think it's 80.
60. The N64 30, the GameCube 20, the Wii U 13. Like, but
Yeah, exactly.
all their handhelds, other than the Virtual Boy, which wasn't really a handheld, they're like the minimum's like 50 or 80. I mean, the minimum's 80. I think the 3DS.
Yeah,
So
like
you can't not have the handheld at this point. You
I
have to.
mentioned. I mean, I mentioned it on my stream last week. I was like, listen, Nintendo has a bad habit of never following up successful consoles well. Like the one thing I always
Mm-hmm.
say about Sony, Sony is consistent. Sony may not. Sony is consistently at least giving you like gets consistent sales. Like they're around the same vein.
Because I feel like the Super
Um,
Nintendo didn't sell. Like somebody brought it up. I think that was in the 60 million. Like that should have been huge, but people were like, "Why do I need to buy this? The NES. I just bought an NES." So that it had a stigma to try to
I think
overcome.
that. I mean, to be fair, it was that transition up into the GameCube where they
Yeah,
were like,
they're like,
we're not playing the power game anymore. And I'm like,
but because
fuck,
parents were
why
like,
not?
"Well, why can't I play my all my games I have on this? Like, why can't I play all my um the games I bought on here?" So
Yeah,
yeah, the worldwide only 49 million for the Super NES. Like you would
damn,
think that would have been huge, but it's just they've
it
never.
wasn't.
So there's, I think it's too risky to take away the handheld part of it. So the hybrid
I don't think.
system's got to
Okay,
stay.
well, here's the question: what if you don't take away the handheld part of it, but you add like a proprietary, like like an increase to the home console option? Is
Oh,
that
he was
is that
talking. The
is
Super Nintendo was just a more straightforward follow up. That's true.
it was?
They didn't really, that was the first one, and they haven't done it since. So, um, as
But
far as a more straightforward.
what if they do the thing where the base Switch 2 is still like the Switch, but just better, but then they add like a second option to like increase the console, like the home console experience.
I hope they focus something more on the home, you know, docked experience because
Well,
that's the
that means
biggest
you got to,
weakness.
but that means you got to do something to that dock. And I guess the question is, what do you do to the
Well, you just
dock?
gotta let the system run at what it's capable of and quit throttling it down. Like, there's no
So
reason to cut the CPU clock down 50% and the GPU down like 40, 30%, whatever it is.
also, I want to put this when we get to the next Switch, that the dock we get with the OLED better be like the standard dock,
Mm-hmm.
because like it makes no fucking sense to go back to where we didn't have an Ethernet port and we don't have fucking like multiple USB
Well,
ports.
here
Like,
is something to this is gonna be a hurdle because 130 million people have a Switch. You
yeah,
give them another Switch. What does everybody do with their old? If it's fully backwards compatible, very similar, what does everybody? There's no reason to hold on to the current Switch other than to give it to your kids or nephew or hand it down. You're not gonna need it for anything. Like, there's a reason to hold on to the Wii. There's a reason to hold on the N64 or GameCube, but there's not gonna be a reason to keep your Switch. So there's going to be a lot of used Switches. That market's going to be flooded.
what about well, oh fuck. What if what if your new dock works with your old Switch?
I mean, I'm not saying. I was just saying, like, why you have a portable gaming system if it's fully backwards compatible to Switch 2, other than to give it to somebody else in your family to
I mean,
have.
it'll be the same situation with the handhelds. I mean, it's the same thing with what happened with the Game Boy Advance when the DS came out.
It's true, but the Game Boy Advance still, yeah, it had back. So I did sell my Game Boy Advance to trade it in for the DS.
Yeah,
But you know, those are
that's
way
what they'll do.
cheaper. Those are way cheaper systems, so it's gonna be interesting. Um, I don't know
Either that,
though.
or either that, or you go the PS3 route where you fucking just say you can't play any of these old games.
Yeah,
And I think that'd be almost a death sentence, low key. You're trying to make the transition into the new console as smooth as possible. So to me, it would make no sense not to make it backwards compatible. I mean,
anyway, we can. I
people
mean,
been
there's really not much information to go on, is there?
no, it's literally just those three things. And the question is, all right, well, I guess here's a better question. Do you think they're going after their same partners from they usually hit, or you think they're gonna try to go for some people they don't normally collaborate with? Because their usuals is like Sega, Bandai,
I think that's gonna stay. They might,
Capcom.
if depending on what it's capable of, they might have. They might be able to partner with more people. Dang, I gotta send you this.
The hell is that? I heard something. I was like, what the fuck was that? What the?
I think it's a real person.
Oh, that! I've seen that.
Was it a real person?
Yeah, it is. It was. I seen that.
She's got the body for it. My God. Sorry to sidetrack this.
It cracked. It cracked
Where
me
was
up.
this at? Disney?
Yeah, it was Disney. It was such a weird thing. Yeah, it's when she does the lead split thing.
She has the body.
Hit him with the spin.
That's pretty awesome.
Hit him with the 360.
That is awesome.
That's ridiculous. I was like, this is incredible. I know you flexible, but god damn. God damn. I
didn't think there was a real human being that was built the same way. She's not quite the same, but close.
It's not the exact same because it wasn't a costume or whatnot.
It's not exaggerated like the in the movies.
Well, you can't listen. That's animated proportions. You can't do that in real life. You can just have a costume to emulate it. That's about it. That's the best you can get.
But anyway,
this got left. This went left real quick, y'all. I'm so sorry.
I uploaded a video earlier today, and I want to. Even though we've been talking about movies a lot lately, I just want to point out the historic nature of going to the IMAX theater this morning, and there's only 30 places in the world that have the 70mm IMAX print being projected onto a screen. 30 places in the whole world. That's just crazy to me. And I went to one of them today, and I seen Avatar 3D at IMAX, but it was just standard format. Seeing this, I don't know how tall it is in Grand Rapids, but seeing the shots that were the full height, 4x3, like floor to ceiling, I was just like grinning ear to ear. I was like a giddy kid, like at Christmas. Like I was so wowed by this image. So I think there's one in Georgia. There's plenty of states that don't have them. I ran into a family with their son. They asked me to take their photograph in front of it. They drove 11 hours because it was the closest IMAX that was using the 70mm film projector. And I talked to them for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I drove 40 minutes. Like, they drove 11 hours. So to me, I felt like it was if you do the math, 300 to 500 people per showing, 4 showings a day at 30 theaters throughout the world. I don't know if they're all showing it. It's probably 1 million people saw it that way now, but I feel pretty special that I was one of them, and it wasn't lost on me the impact or that'll have, because it's been, not to get like too nerdy about it, but 6 years. Dunkirk was the last time a lot of these projectors were in use, because Tenet came out during COVID. So I'd love to see Tenet at this, because it was just mind-blowing. Unfortunately, the audio's not great at that theater in Grand Rapids. There's literally no bass, so it was all just super loud treble. A little bit too loud. It was kind of hurt my ears. But the visual experience, man, it was just, I was in awe the whole time. And the movie's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like his best. It was good, but lots of stuff going on. Need to see it a second time. But man, the hype was real for the actual film projector, the full format. If you have a chance, if you're within a couple hours, I mean, just be a part of history. I mean, who knows? The next time he does a movie, there might be 20 of those projectors working, so.
How far is this? I'm looking at the one in Georgia. I just want to see. How far is the one?
It's a long movie. It's a 3-hour movie. There's no trailers or nothing, so you just go there at the time and you're in. So if you had to do a 3-hour drive, 3-hour movie, and a 3-hour drive back, that'd be pretty long. But if you're lucky enough,
see where it's at.
These people, I don't know where they came from. That was 11 hours. Like, because I'm thinking there has to be one closer.
You had to be pretty far back to be like.
Let's look at the list of the actual IMAX 70 mil. There's a
Let's
website
see.
that has them all.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. The one in Georgia. Wait, where's the directions? I
So
need the
Arizona
directions.
has one. California has one, two,
I had
three,
to drive
four, five,
almost three
six.
hours to get to it, bro. It's
That
like on it's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's like from
that's not too bad though.
it's like it's not in Atlanta. It's like near it, but it's not in
So
Atlanta.
California has 7. Florida has one. Georgia has one. Indiana has one.
I think I'm more surprised of
Michigan has
what's
2. New York only has one. The state of New York only has one. It's probably the best one.
probably.
Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Texas has 2. Tennessee has one, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot of states that don't have them. So I mean, even 2 hour 40 minutes, that's still you're still close compared to a lot of these
No,
people.
I am. Oh, no, definitely, definitely.
I don't know
I think
what you
I'm just
think of the
I,
movie. I honestly, I watched the show Manhattan beforehand, so I knew a lot of the story and a lot of the science behind it. The movie just jumps around so much. If you don't know any backstory, I feel like you'd be completely lost.
I think I'm more surprised that it's not in Atlanta. I think that's what's fucking with me
I
because
can't
I
believe
assume
Grand Rapids out of 19 in the country has one, and it's like the quality was amazing. I wish the sound was better in that theater, but it's the real deal.
it's just a weird. I don't know. For me, it was just a weird. It's just a weird city to choose because I'm like I don't even know. That's the first time I've even seen this city. It's like what was it? It's Buford, Georgia. I'm like,
Oh,
what the
really?
fuck is? That's where it's at. It's in Buford,
Well, they
Georgia. I'm like,
probably
where the?
it was probably one of the earlier IMAX theaters. But anyway, not to get derailed, but I'm starving, so I'm gonna just wrap this up.
That's
Um,
fine. I mean, we're about near two
I
hours
thought T
anyway.
was gonna jump in. He couldn't make it, so gaming's not really on my forefront of thought right now. So I know somebody last week, 2 weeks ago,
I'm be,
commented about
I'm be
how
real.
like the
Go
Nintendo
ahead.
fan. We were a bunch of Nintendo fans, and it was exciting having a Nintendo centric podcast. And now a lot of those are gone. I used to listen to a bunch, and now they're gone. So I understand people wanting that still, but it's just for me it was just hard to continue as just the Nintendo diehard fanboy podcast, with everything. So I
Well, because
appreciate everybody who comes in though, who does show up.
Nintendo doesn't have consistent enough news to do that, and especially now. Now it's just become. It's been like, oh wow, Nintendo hit another milestone. Oh
Yeah,
wow,
it's just about numbers and sales and
which
games coming
to be
out
fa-
too.
to be fair, early Switch that was important. It was important for us because we were like, man, we just came off a really
Yeah, we
bad
can't have
console.
another Wii. We need them to have a success so that they're
So,
not going third
so
party.
yeah. But, hey man, you might check out that Xbox Game Pass, bro, and see that might end up on the
But
Switch
I think
next
once the
gen.
system gets shown, I think we'll get a boost and we'll probably be more excited and stuff. But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's down to every other week. I think it's gonna continue to dwindle. Yeah, I would be surprised if it doesn't go to once a month to never.
Damn,
I don't know.
damn,
It's just
dude.
hard for everybody to get together. Robert seems like he's got something else going on every week now, and I don't know. I don't know,
What was he?
guys.
What was he doing this week
I
anyway?
don't. I saw he's going to New York again for something.
Oh,
But yeah. So, but thanks you guys for tuning in. We're gonna get out of here, and maybe in a couple weeks we'll see you again.